easier. Okay, so today we'd like to speak about some of the work that we've been doing around highway licenses, reporting problems on the road, Buckinghamshire pension scheme, and blogs and the tech backlog. As well as the bits we want to talk about, we've also been hard at work at migration. So we're working on multiple service areas at the moment, including public rights of way, flooding, housing, ecology and biodiversity, licensing pages, support for children in education, parks, open spaces, community centres, youth clubs, and we've just recently published some Buckinghamshire archives bits as well. I will pass over to Louise.
Thank you, Stuart. Good afternoon, everyone. So I've been working on the highways licenses and permits pages recently with Stuart, and we're pleased to say that the new pages, the section is now live on the website. So the 15 new pages sit under parking, roads and transport. And during this process, we spent some time with the service just to understand the different licenses and permits, and just to see if we could make any of the page titles a bit clearer so the user can easily find what they're looking for. Next slide. As a result of these meetings, we changed some of the page titles, or we provided some more useful and descriptive information just to make it a bit more self-explanatory. So, for example, we changed apply for a vehicular access license to apply for a license to drop a curb outside your house, just a bit clearer, just so you can understand exactly what it's about. Or apply for a Section 50 license to apply for a Section 50 license to dig up or put apparatus on or above the public highway. And also, apply for a pavement license was apply for a pavement license if your business wants to put tables and chairs on the public highway. So just to make it a bit clearer so people can see at a glance what it is they're looking for. Next slide, please. With regards to the contents on the pages themselves, we provided more explanatory content so the user has all the information they need before applying. So much of this content was previously located on the shop for support information page. So that's where the users take them when they click apply now for the permit, or in the application form itself, which is another couple of steps on. So we tried to make it really clear so we had that information right there in front of them when they're applying. And also, following user feedback, we also added contact information for the team, and this is on every page just in case the user has any problems or questions about their application. I'll now hand over to Kira, who's going to be talking about reporting road problems. Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. Yep, so as we said, I'll be talking about some of the work I've been doing about reporting problems on a road. So I'll start off with talking about our current page, which we felt that this really could be improved on to make a clear journey for users to follow. Because at the moment the pages kind of feel a bit disjointed. There are two kind of potential places that users can report potholes, such to report things like potholes, drains, and streetlights. It kind of lacks clarity because it doesn't give much detail about what specific issues that users can report. So when looking at these, I found that there are subcategories on Fix My Street which aren't kind of detailed on the current pages that we have. This means that users have to go through the journey to find out what they can actually report. Next slide. To start improving the pages, I found that using customer feedback and complaint data was really important in identifying the current issues with the pages. I found that users were struggling to locate a specific problem. Users would generally start from Google to report a problem and not navigate there using our site. Also became apparent that the users are looking for specific page titles, so sort of overlooking the current page that's there. I also looked at complaint data from customer service to kind of determine what issues we receive the most complaints about and use this as kind of like a building block of which pages I'll start creating first. Next slide. So these pages will be coming soon. As you can see, it's a dedicated area on our site for users to report problems. So hopefully that will resolve the issue of users not being able to locate or find a topic in search. All pages will signpost to Fix My Street and kind of detail the subcategories that they can use, that they can report, instead of going through the whole customer journey. Also gives more detail about what the users need to know before making a report and how we update them, because I found some of the comments as well were, especially on Fix My Street, is that people didn't know when they were receiving feedback or they hadn't heard. So it kind of gives a little bit more clarity for them before they've made a report. But yeah, that is the end of my slide. So I will pass over to Oscar.
Thanks, Kira. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about the local government pension scheme content that we're working on at the moment. Me and Stuart are kind of working through this project. So what's quite unique about it is just the kind of audience and user base that use this content. It's quite broad. There's about 80,000 scheme members, and it's kind of different to a lot of the other content that we work on in that it kind of applies to people who are employed by Buckinghamshire Council, kind of those who have been employed but aren't kind of employed anymore, but still have a pension pot with us, kind of pensioner members. And then there's also kind of subgroups of those. So kind of people who have received a pension as part of kind of divorce proceedings and stuff like that. Next slide, please. Cheers. So there's also a lot of different kind of tasks and informational needs that we need to fulfill through the content. We've been working with Maddie, who's been really helpful on this, helping us kind of come up with the user needs and make sure that we're kind of covering everything that users would want to do with this content. And we have about 49 so far, so quite a lot. Next slide, please. So we're currently at the stage of kind of designing the information architecture, so the navigation for the content. This has been kind of quite a complex process. There's a number of kind of different ways that we've kind of thought about organising it, kind of ranging from organising it by the specifics kind of groups, so the active members and the pension members and stuff like that, to kind of follow in more of a kind of informational or task-based kind of section, as we always try to do. So it's been hard to kind of balance those two. But yeah, we think we're getting there, and we're kind of almost at the stage to start presenting that back. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we're kind of got to the stage where I think we've got about 2 different IAs that we're going to kind of work through, and the kind of page titles and stuff again, kind of more solid in terms of we think that they're going to kind of carry forward into the project. But we're prepared to kind of adapt the content as we kind of write more of it, and as we kind of learn more about the kind of subject. So that's it from me, I think. I'll be passing on to Colin.
Thank you, Oscar. I will take over control of the screen if that's okay. So we have a live demonstration. Okay. Can everyone see that? Somebody's looking positive. Good. Now I've gone backwards. Let's try this again. Right, so I'm going to be talking about the blogs and take backlog. We finally have support from Torchbox to do more technical development. They went off of the project a few months ago along with Unboxed, and in April we managed to get a short amount of development time with them. That includes some technical time, which I will cover shortly, but first I am going to go through blogs and talk to you through blogs. This is something which we prepared with Unboxed beforehand. So this was all service designed and researched by Unboxed whilst they were still on project, and then they, as I say, they came off of the project. But what we were left with was something which was ready to be developed, but we didn't have development in place. So Torchbox have now picked this up, and we're about halfway through the blogs project. This is the designs which they were given from Unboxed, and I will take you to a live version of the blogs in our development area. This should be fairly familiar with people. Anyone who is familiar with any central government blog templates, it's based upon that. Blogs are relatively simple. They only have a couple of templates that that we needed to create, but I'll just talk people through what there is. This is our homepage, so it's for each service area to create a blog homepage. As part of that, each blog post will be listed in date order, be up to 10 per page. And then on the right hand side, we have sort of consistent navigation, or not navigation, but consistent information about the blog. That includes about the service that's producing it, the top 3 recent posts, followers, area. So it provides consistency within the blog. There is also at the top a featured function, which will allow you to promote a single blog entry and make sure that it stays at the top of the page whilst you want people to pay attention to that. From there, we also have a search. The search will just covers the blog entries, so you'll be able to see just the information that is within each service's blog. We then have a blog page, which again should be fairly familiar to everybody. Has the search, has the sidebar on the right hand side, has a heading, has a description for when it was created, who wrote it, and the ability to add images, text, headings, video, etc. Within that page should be relatively familiar to everybody. And then again, all of that navigation, all that search and sidebar is available with the ability to jump back to the home page. So as I say, this is our MVP. So it's a functioning version of blogs, but there is more that we would like to get done. If I take us back to the slides. This is our template for the post MVP structure. So we have a few other categories to go, but this is my summary, less visual way. But we have so far completed the tasks on the left hand side. So I'll talk you through most of these, which is the home page, blog page, search results, about the sidebar, followers, etc. And we have we've done about 2/3 of our 2-week sprint. Unfortunately, this week our developer has been off sick, so we have a little bit of delay on moving on to these post MVP tasks. But the subscribe and the categories requirements are well underway, so I'm expecting those to be delivered shortly as soon as developer is back, and then also a global homepage. The further down the list we go, the less likely we are to get these things achieved. We have 2 weeks of time with the developer. Obviously, we've completed all of the things on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we will get as much of this done as possible, but there is a reasonable likelihood that we will not get to the bottom of this list. But provided we have the MVP, the stuff on the left-hand side, the functionality of the blogs is ready to go, and we can start using them, and everything on the right-hand side is value added, which means that we get additional functionality, which makes it more immersive and more useful to the public, but we can still use blogs until these post MVP tasks are completed. Anything which isn't completed, we will put into the tech backlog, which is the next part of what I was going to talk about. As part of our contract with Torchbox, we have 2 days a month of development time to get fixes and changes done on the website. So this can be anything from issues that we discover and arise to additional functionality to make either our lives better or indeed new templates and new designs for end users. As I say, we managed to get this contract in place for April. So we had our first tech backlog or tech sprint was in May. We got about 4 things done, 2 of which were accessibility issues. So I'm hoping to see our accessibility score improve. It should be pretty high next time. I'm hoping it to be 98%, something along those lines. And then in June we were working in tandem with blogs. So actually a lot of these tasks were already in flight from the May task, but we did get some of those moved over at the same time as we were working on blogs. So this is about the rate that we can make changes. Each one of these tasks can take sort of between 2 hours to half a day to get done. But it leads you to the issue of my tech backlog, which of this is I kind of got bored after 25 items, but we have a long list. It increases by about 4 or 5 items per month. So obviously, when we can get about 4 or 5 things done, and we get 4 or 5 new things each month, it's more or less an impossible task to get everything done within the budget that we have. But just to give these things are all prioritized against one another, and we look at the requirement by both the council and also for the end user. So we prioritize things which are critical, and then we will try and get done the most important, the most useful things for us as an organization. However, when people do send me new things to get done, please bear in mind that there are many to get done, and we have very, very limited resources to get it all completed. And that's all I had to cover. I'm going to hand over to you, Stuart.
Are there any questions?
So I think there was a quick one in the chat, Liz, which I think I've answered, but I may not have answered correctly. So Liz asked whether the blogs would be available to Family Information Service. So the short answer is yes, but not by default, I don't think. So
the blogs will be available to every service, but they won't be hosted in the Family Information Service area. They'll be hosted as part of Buckinghamshire Council.
okay. So I was half right.
So it would be treated like a service area and not a microsite. Yeah, the blogs.
The blogs, yeah, because it's everybody's part of the council. So
yeah.
And unless there's a particular pressing need, we can add it to the backlog list.
No. If it's just like maybe to promote ourselves, promote some things we're doing, link it back to our content. So if that's on the main or if it's on ours, it doesn't really matter.
No, it won't make any difference. I don't think people will notice, and it makes a lot of sense to have all the blogs in one location so that you can see where everything is.
As long as we've got access to them, where they're displayed as immaterial.
Blogs are available to every service area.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, on Stuart. Sorry, I just jumped in.
You go for it, Pete. Yeah, if there's no other questions, thank you very much for your time today, and we'll be back in 3 weeks. Maybe.